Alright, time for your favorite section, graphing. Instead of doing the little table on the side, what I'm going to do is go through each equation and talk about the important parts. So in the first one, that 3 means that my amplitude is 3. I'm talking about sine. And this 1/2 is going to change my period. So it's going to be 2 pi over 1/2, which will give me 4 pi. Once I've seen that, I'm ready to start graphing. I'm talking about sine, so I start at origin, put your point. Then I go to the length of my period, so that would be 4 pi. Still on origin, or still on the x-axis, sorry. Then I go halfway in between and put a point. Now it's time to look at my amplitude. My amplitude is 3, and I haven't been reflected, so I go halfway between my first 2 points and go up 3. And I go halfway between my last 2 points and go down 3. And I sketch my curve. That's it. The next one. This negative means that it's reflected. The 2 is my amplitude. And the next 2 is going to affect my period. So instead of 2 pi, it's going to be 2 pi over 2, which is just pi. I'm dealing with cosine now. So I start on my y-axis. It has been reflected, so instead of starting at positive 2, I'm going to start down at negative 2. Okay. Then I go the length of my period, so that would be pi. Now I go in between those 2 points and I graph my positive amplitude. My amplitude is 2, so I go to positive 2. And I connect that with a smooth curve. That was beautiful. Okay, and I could keep on going if I wanted. You just keep mirroring that shape and it makes a lovely wave going on and on. It's pretty hard to do on a tablet. The next problem, you have an amplitude of 3. Your period doesn't change, it's just 2 pi, but we're moving it down 1. So what I want to do is graph my new axis. So I'm moving everything down 1. So I sketch that. So now that's where I'm going to start to do my graph. So instead of starting at 0, 0, I'm going to start at 0, negative 1. I'm talking about sine. So I start on my new origin, right here. I go the width of my period, which is 2 pi. I go halfway between, graph it on my new x-axis. Go halfway between, graph your positive amplitude. Halfway between, graph your negative amplitude. And make sure you're going compared to your new x-axis, for lack of a better term. And then you sketch your curve through the points. Then we start getting a little harder. This next one, we're moving it left by pi and up 3. So go left pi, draw your new y-axis, and go up 3 and make your new y-axis. And now I'm just going to graph sine, usually, without any other changes. So I put my first point at 0, 0. I go the width of my period, which is 2 pi. I go halfway between those points. And then I need to do my amplitude. So that would be positive 1. My amplitude going down, negative 1. You'll notice this one is a lot more squished because my amplitude hasn't changed. Okay, this 2 means I'm going up 2. This 3 is my amplitude. And the minus pi over 2 means I'm going left pi over 2. So I'm going to go left pi over 2, up 2. Graph my new axes there. And I'm graphing sine, so I start at that new point here, my new origin. I go the width of my period, which is just my normal 2 pi. I go halfway between those 2 points, plot it on my new x-axis. I go up my amplitude, so that would be up to 5. I go down my amplitude, so that would be down to -1. Connect your curve. Last one. -1 means down 1. This negative means it's reflected. This 2 is my amplitude. This 1/2 will affect my period, so 2 pi over 1/2 gives me a period 4 pi. And this 2 pi means I'm moving it to the right 2 pi. So go down 1. Oh, what am I saying? I'm going to the left. That's why I'm confused. All right, to the left 2 pi. To the left, to the left. Okay. And we go down 1. We are graphing cosine, so I need to start at a negative amplitude. So I'm starting at negative because it's reflected. So I start at my origin, I go down 2, and graph that point. I go the width of my period, which is 4 pi, graph that point. I go halfway between, and I graph the positive amplitude. That needs to be from my new x-axis, so my amplitude is 2, so I need to go up 2 from my new x-axis and connect those with a smooth curve. All right, that's it for graphing.